Hello, hello, and welcome to Amethyst Racing. It's Tier 2 today in China. Will Skowski remain on top, or will the charging bean put him under any pressure? Qualifying is about to get started, as we see an Aston Martin coming out first. I fixed it. Let's go. An Aston Martin of McWilliams leading the charge here. Was missing last week. McWilliams will be looking to score some points here, along with his teammate Lodeman, as the constructors are very tight all around the board. Currently driving the green Red Bull. Do we expect any spins and crashes is the question though. And also, I would like to point out, in the race, we're hoping for no weaving down this straight. You're allowed one move, and then to return to the racing line. And McWilliams starts us off here. Coming into turn 1 and 2 now. Choosing a much wider line. Whipping it nice close to the on the apex though for turn 2 into turn 3 and 4. And then into the right hand kink of 5 before you hit the hairpin of 6. Now turns 7, 8 and 9 is all about your throttle control and gearing before you come into the double left-hander. We've seen a few drivers in Tier 1 have moments here on that exit curb. Very easy to lose the car. McWilliams almost losing it on the curb as we talk about it. Expect a few cars to absolutely bin it off there as well. McWilliams now on the monster long straight. Into the second hairpin of this track. And then it's the final corner. McWilliams going to be setting the benchmark time here. And it's a 1:34. But now the pass pairing of Cassie going faster. And Marquinhos beating him. Next up is going to be Will Swan. Swan puts it P2, but Skowski goes 5 tenths faster. P1. Next up is Bean. His rival, Bean, unable to best him as Kizil goes P7. Binder besting Kizil. And then it's going to be a Mercedes of... not Matthews. It wasn't Harris either. No, it was Matthews. Matthews puts it P8. But Lodeman, meanwhile, goes P4. Next up is Nick Mangano. And where can Nick put it? Mangano goes P7, and now it's going to be Marco. P11 for the Marco. We're hearing that he is currently inebriated, or at least hungover. So there's only Vandenberg and Harris left to go. Harris on a lap though. Harris the only... Oh, and he's invalidated. Oh, you bit my tongue. Oh no. Oh. Will Harris go for another lap here? But Iskowski being battling it for the top step once again. Harris 1/10 up on Bean's first sector. Can Harris cook? Harris, who is known for his crashes. If he didn't have crashes, he'd actually be in the title race right now. Harris almost 2 tenths up now on Bean, but Skowski has the fastest final sector. Harris going to look to gobble that toe from the Red Bull ahead of Binder. As Harris now going to be rounding that final corner. Doesn't invalidate. Alex Harris sets A. Oh my days. 4 tenths faster. Bruh. Bruh. Hugendorn teases us. It's not McWilliams, it is Lodeman. About to come in. So it's going to be... I've now got to try and work out who's on lap. It's not Skowski. Bean's on an out lap. Not Marquinia. Lodeman's in the pits. Swan on an out lap. Hugendorn in the pits. Van Loon coming out. Cassie maybe? Currently P10. Cassie not finding time now in Sector 1. We'll be looking to make up time in Sector 2 and 3 if he can. And the Haas team working together here. And Cassie puts it P8, jumping ahead of both the Alpines. And McWilliams splits the Alpines in two, puts himself into the top 10. And now I've got to try and work out who's on a lap. Kizel's put it P2, meanwhile. Skowski rounding the final corner now to start his lap. Bean is on lap. Bean is probably the one we want to watch here. Oh, and Bean spins! Oh, and Bean is a menace. Bean is an absolute menace. I think he just... Oh, it was Cassie. Cassie was on an in-lap. Copium. Marquina improves through Sector 1 and Sector 2. Still rocking a solid P6 as Mangano's gone P5. Through the final hairpin now. And then it's up a drive towards the final corner. A quick jolt on the steering wheel left. Ride that curb and then drive towards the line. Marquina back ahead of Mangano. But Skowski's the one to watch. Can Skowski find time on Alex Harris? He's green Sector 1, purple Sector 2. Kasper Skowski only goes P2. Half a tenth off. Now, who's on that? Vandenberg, maybe? No. Swan, maybe? Doubt. Loadman isn't. Marco isn't. So Talbon is on an out lap. Who's on a lap? As we watch the McLaren's race to get into the pits. Who is on a lap? Talbon's about to start one, so we'll follow on with Melvin Talbon. I don't even actually know his first name. Yeah, his first name. Oh, is it Talbom? Oh, ball sacks. What's his first name, Kosev? Talbot almost a second off the pace of the leaders. Ah, Melvin will do. Melvin's close enough. I've called him Talbon the whole time he's been here. No one told me it was Talbon. I will get it fixed after, but he comes into the pits. He pulls out. So, currently, there's no one on the track. And as I say that, the first car goes out to start their final lap. No, I don't think I will. So it's a hatch first of Ben Cassie. And now we're starting to see the cars come out thick and fast. Fast and furious. If we was in Japan, I'd say we was in Fast and Furious 3 because it'd be Tokyo Drift. But we're not in Japan, we're in China. We're just across the sea. And every car, all 17 cars, are going to be out on the track at the same time. So I'm going to need help remembering the order. It is Cassie, Van Loon, Marco Mangano. I'm going to assume Kizil. Yeah, it's Kizil. Then it's Hugendorn. Then it's Skalski. Then it's Nick Mangano. Then it's a Mercedes of Matthews. Then a Red Bull of Binder. Then it's going to be Marquinhos. Then, oh my god, they're so tight together. Yeah, currently. Well, I mean, Talbot is yet to set a lap, so. Casio about to start us off. First car on lap. As the cars squabble for position on the track further back, Cassie does not have this issue. Matthews picks up a 5th place for illegal blocking. I have no idea how that's happened. But Cassie now coming through Sector 2, down on his Sector 1 time once again. That first Sector 1 time he did, he hasn't been able to improve on since. And the cars at the back are leaving it very last minute to get a lap in. I don't believe Talbot didn't get across the line in time. Talbot doesn't set a lap. El Mans. But Cassie now running this long right-hander. Talbot just took the biggest L of the century. Onto the long straight. Matthews had spun. There's a spun McLaren as well. But Ben Cassie improves to P7. Next up is Van Loon, currently 9th. Doesn't improve. Then it's Marco. Doesn't improve. Then it's Hugendorm. Improves to P10. Now, Skalski goes fastest. Next is Binder. Binder doesn't improve. Loadman goes P6. Who's next? Who's next? There's so many times coming in. I can't tell who I need to go to. McWilliams. Currently P14. Oh my god, there's a dead car. Harris doesn't improve. Skalski beats Harris off by 5 thousandths. That's a statement I'm not going to say. Da, 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 da. I have no idea where Nick qualified. And there isn't a lobby restart. Oh, it's very overcast. Overcast? It could rain. And we will definitely be taking a look to see if it is going to or not. I'm actually going to have to include that one. If Harris actually spins, I'm going to cry. As here we go, we're getting ready for the race start. Skowski 1, Harris 2. Who's going to get the best start? There's 5 red lights and away. Harris spins, but he doesn't. He gets the grip down real good, and he's into the lead. Skowski in P2, P3 for Kizel, but P4. Marco on a charge around the outside. Bean looks for the inside around turns 1 and 2. It's going to be chaos further back as we watch through the pack, and there's a spot. Haas. Haas has gone round. I can't quite tell who that was. I think that might have been Marquini was at a moment, and Marquini's the one who spun. Marco into P4. Bean battling Loadman for P5. Bean looks for a move up the inside of Marco, and he makes contact with Kizel. Oh, Bean! Bean, 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 Bean. So the front two are away. It's Loadman now in P3. Cassie up into P4. P5 for Hugendorn. Vandenberg battling Van Loon. And there's contact. Oh my days. So much carnage. As is an absolute cluster, and there's Marco's been spun, and so has McWilliams, I think. Yeah, McWilliams and oh my days. So Harris started soft. Harris has started soft compared to everyone else on the hards, other than Marco, who's gone medium. Harris, as expected, is flying. Swan down in P16. What happened to Swan? As we have Matthews and Van Loon both into the pits. Marco staying out. I'm pretty certain Marco got damaged, no? Marco is missing an end plate, and Van Loon has sped into the pits. Shut up. Harris with almost a second lead on Skowski already will be looking to extend as best as possible. But the front two are away. It's currently Loadman leading the rest. With Loadman, Cassie and Hugendorn in this train. Then it's Marco Mangano, Fantenberg and Taubon in the next train. Bean will be looking to close down the gap. But Harris with a monster lead over the current Drivers' Champion leading in the points, because Vlad Rosu isn't here today. But Harris with a solid lead. With low... Oh, and there's a spin, and it's a Red Bull. It can only be Binder. Binder's had a moment. It doesn't look like he's got damage. Looks like he is safe from the damage. But Harris with a commanding lead with the DRS open will be not in... Skowski not in his DRS range. And meanwhile, Lodeman is dropping Cassie off, and it will be Hugendorn with the DRS on Cassie. Further back as well, Marco now chooses the pits, freeing up Vandenberg and Taubon. Bean has caught up to the rear, and we got quite the train from Vandenberg down. It looks like Vandenberg coming under pressure from the Williams pairing of Taubon and Bean. Some would argue that this is actually their fastest lineup in Tier 2. With Monk being drunk a lot of the time. Mangano though comes out ahead of Matthews and Van Loon, but he'll be on the hard tyre now. Maybe looking to see if he can somehow make them go towards the end. We're going to go though back to the battle for P5. We're going to ride on board with Hugendorn all over the rear of Cassie. Cassie without the DRS from what we can see. Seemed like he was out of the range. Hugendorn will be looking to get in that toe and make the move on Cassie. Cassie seemingly not fighting. Hugendorn with the DRS assistance flies by. And we're looking to hold on to the back of Lodeman here as they're battling for the final podium position currently. And we've got to imagine that Bean is going to be getting a penalty for what happened in turn 6. But Cassie will have the DRS to try and fight back through this start-finish line segment. Unable to do so though. Vandenberg holding off both the Williams as well. And that's who? That's Van Loon! Van Loon's in the gravel! Oh, Rolf! Alex, shut up. Someone time that fat child out. It's me who has to do it. Meanwhile now, as Matthews is in the pits once again. So Harris with a solid lead over Skowski, but on a very different strategy. He might be two-stopping here. Then it's Lodeman with Hugendorn trying to keep up. Cassie outside of DRS already, and there's a spun. It's Marquinhos. Marquinhos had a moment now. Unable to quite see what's happened, but he's had a moment through that long right-hander, and he's definitely got some performance issues there. As it is going to be Mans Vandenberg under pressure now from Taubon. Taubon with the DRS. Vandenberg runs a little bit deeper. Just able to cover off Taubon though. But the Williams pair are right on his tail. Breathing down his neck. He'll be feeling the pressure from that Williams car. Meanwhile, there's a battle at the back, and it's going to be Marquinhos and Mangano through turns 1 and 2, 3 and 4, side by side, neither of them wanting to give up. A little bit of a bump and a bang. And I think Mangano might be through, as Marquinhos has gone deep. Marquinhos might have some damage, I would imagine, as Harris now have a massive lead. Already over 30% on them tyres. And the weather, it's only overcast. Doesn't look like it's going to be raining. As further back, Lodeman is about to become the leader of this train. Hooray! That's a fine for Aston. Fine for Aston. Right, so Aston Martin receiving a fine. Let's just go through the grid order quickly. Hugendorn, telemetry on. Cassie, telemetry on. Talbon, telemetry on. Mans, telemetry on. Soybean, telemetry on. Kizil, telemetry on. Swan, telemetry on. Nick Mangano, telemetry on. McWilliams, telemetry on. Binder, it's on. Marco, it's on. Marquinhos, it's on. Van Loon, it's on. And Matthews, it's on. So it's just Lodeman. And it is just Lodeman. But Mans has already been passed by one of the Williams. Bean looking for a move on that McLaren. And Talbon lets Bean through as well. Will that enable Mans to get past? Mans looks for a switchback on him. Both with the DRS now. Mans will be pushing hard. As meanwhile Swan is battling Nick Mangano for P10. And Mans gets through on Talbon. But Talbon back up the inside. But now Mans with the inside for the double left-hander. The two of them fighting it out. It's going to release Bean though. Bean going to be looking to charge up the order. Talbon with the inside for this hairpin. Mans will have to hold it around the outside. I think Talbon might have that place, but Mans does slot in behind. Where's Harris? Oh, Harris is pit. So Harris pits and he's ahead of McWilliams after his first pit stop. Down in P11 is now Skowski leading with quite a commanding lead over Logan in P2. P3 for Hugendorn now and 4 for Cassie. Will Harris have the DRS to help defend? Oh, Harris has got past Nick Mangano up into P10 already with the DRS assistance. Nick trying to defend off McWilliams. For P11 and 12. And looks like Nick Mangano does fend off McWilliams behind him. And meanwhile, Vandenberg has now been passed by both. Oh, yeah. Oh! Kizil makes a send up the inside there. We was not expecting that move. And Vandenberg really having to fight for these positions. And it looks like Kizil is going to get past. Kizil though, rear flashing up the inside though. Vandenberg maybe looking for a switchback though as they go side by side through. Oh boys, please don't crash. Kizil just about holding him off here. But Vandenberg is looking for positions everywhere. And meanwhile, Harris is being held up here by Swan. Swan will not have the DRS assistance to fend off Harris though. And Harris will be thinking about a move here on Will Swan. Swan won't make it easy for him though. But Harris with the fresh mediums compared to the old hards. Like a hot knife through butter for Harris as he's working his way through. Goes a bit deep there though. But Swan unable to capitalise on Harris's minor error. But will have the DRS here to maybe think about attacking back. Isn't deploying battery. Maybe thinking of using Harris to pull himself along. Swan currently in the points. All 17 drivers still on the track as things stand. And let's have a look at our big gainers and losers. So after one pit stop, Harris is down 7 places, but everyone else has to pit still. Marquina is down 10 and Talbot is up 9. Hugendorn also up 8 and Van Loon is down 6 places. Mangano also up 5 and Kizel has lost 4 places after that incident with Bean at the start. But the grip from Harris's mediums really shine through Sector 2. As he's already approaching the rear of Vandenberg, Harris is on a charge on this alternate strategy. And Harris currently has the fastest sector in every sector. Harris lighting up the track. And we'll be eyeing up a move on Mans Vandenberg now. Again, the medium tyres compared to the hards. He pulls out to the side. And Harris is now up into P8 already. On a charge here is Alex Harris. Although probably has to do another pit stop. Harris has gone soft, medium, medium. But is the only guess I can imagine. And Harris is absolutely flying right now. On an alternate strategy. Let's see how this one pays off for him. But currently it's going to be Skalski who is leading with Lodeman in P2. P3 belongs to Hugendorn and Cassie, the Tier 3 driver, reserving in Tier 2 up into P4. Then you got Soybean P5, Talbon under pressure from Kizel, who has Harris behind him now. And we're going to follow this battle because this could get heated. Alex, sometimes I wish I'd shut up. You're the vice team principal. Start acting like it, you child. But Talbon here, going to be feeling Kizel behind him. But Kizel going to be definitely noticing that Harris is right behind him. Harris makes a send into that left-hander. As Binder has spun. And does free up a little bit of pressure on Talbon. Kizel, though, really not wanting to leave any room for Harris. Harris not giving up, though. And Kizel looks to dive back past him. But Kizel goes extremely deep. And now Kizel might be under threat from Vandenberg behind instead. I was expecting someone to die, if I'm honest. I was expecting death. And now it's Talbon who has got Harris behind him. These old hards definitely feeling the pressure from this fresh medium runner. I think Harris is wearing a special helmet today as well. Meanwhile, Skalski still on a race of his own. Lodeman has dropped off Hugendorn. Hugendorn has Cassie still within grasps of him. And Bean has been making inroads onto Cassie. Soon will be within striking range of that Haas. Whew. But we're going to go back to the battle for what is now P6, because Harris will be eyeing up another hard runner, surely. This time it's Talbon. Harris pulls out to the side. Side by side. Once again, Harris. This is his hunting zone. I can't say the joke that I was about to say. I would feel very bad for it. Harris is hunting down that back straight. As you see in the background there, Nick Mangano going deep. And Kizel is now all over the back of Talbon again. The race is one safety car from it being tipped on its head here. Because I'm not too sure if it's 16 laps on the mediums would be a push. And it's Matthews who's had a moment again. Matthews not having a race to remember. Definitely struggling. As Scousy's going to be in range to lap Matthews now. But it's the battle for P3 because Hugendorn's lost a lot of ground to Cassie, who's lost ground to Bean. We're going to ride on board here with Bean. Because these three have suddenly condensed back in together. I believe Hugendorn had a moment through that long right-hander. And has enabled the Haas driver to catch up to the back of him, which will help defend off the rapid Bean behind them. As we come down now onto the main straight. And Cassie thinks about a move on Hugendorn. Unable to make anything happen though. And further back actually. Harris is coming into shot already. But Cassie, all over the rear of Hugendorn now, will be able to apply the pressure. Thinks better about a move up the inside into turn 6. The three of them, though, are now being gained on by a very fast approaching Harris. Talbot and Kizio have dropped off the McLaren pairing of Vandenberg and Swan as well. But Cassie here, proving he's got some sublime pace, keeping up with Hugendorn here. And Matthews has spun again. And he's been lapped now by Skowski. But here we go. It's going to be Cassie. It's going to be Hugendorn, Cassie, Bean and Harris all on the straight. Bean pulls out to the side. Both of them with DRS. Harris with DRS as well. And Bean up the inside here of Cassie. Bean up into P4. Will be next up, hunting down Hugendorn. But Harris is right behind Cassie here. Cassie on the old hards now must be really feeling susceptible to them fresh mediums. As Harris pops his flap. And looks like he's passed Cassie into turn 1. Cassie though not giving up on that position. And has pulled out now actually. Meanwhile though, for P7, Kizil looking up the inside of Talbot. Talbot just about holding him off though. And not able to switch back on him. Matthews has already been lapped by the front two. But Hugendorn with Beam behind, Harris behind him, and Cassie behind them all. Will Hugendorn be able to hold off the cars behind? Because Harris is looking very racy on their mediums. Thinks about a move into that left-hander for a second. Thinks better of it though. Definitely affected his entry into that corner though. And Cassie could still be within range of him. And he does get the DRS, but Bean up ahead might be thinking about a move on Hugendorn. Hugendorn's rear light flashing. Bean pulls alongside. And is ahead of Hugendorn now. So Hugendorn falls down to P4. Bean up into P3. Bean probably going to be getting a penalty though for his incident with Kizil. Lodeman though running in P2. Harris though pulls out. But I was not expecting that move. Harris up into P4 hunting down Bean. Lodeman already in P2. Lodeman going to have a lot of work to do though. Because them old hards definitely losing a lot of time. Everyone has lost so much time to Harris on them fresh mediums. How fresh are Harris's mediums now though? Already at 30% average compared to Bean, who's on 40% or 50% on the front. until he spins. But Bean will now be the one defending. He's been charging back up through the field after his lap 1 incident. As Matthews has spun again. Matthews having a race from hell. Meanwhile, Harris is looking to get another podium under his belt. Skowski starts another lap. Harris. Bean defends the inside. Harris maybe going around the outside. Side by side with Bean. Harris makes the move though around the outside like a trailer park girl. But Bean will now have the DRS on the main straight to fight back. And will he fight back is the question, as Lodeman first to pit of the hard runners. And is Bean unable to do so. Harris makes the move now for P2. Matthews indeed cooking. As we see a couple of the hard runners in. We've got Cassie in, Swan in, McWilliams in. Matthews retires from the race. So Skowski with a massive lead to Harris, who has already done his first pit stop. So when they pit again, that is the gap that should be between them. I think Skowski on for another race win. It's going to be between Lodeman and Harris for P2. And don't rule out Bean either. Bean and Hugendorn and Cassie still in with a shout. As we do have our first DNF of the day in Matthews. Whew. Bean already out of DRS on Harris. So Bean will now be towing along Hugendorn. Will Hugendorn be able to hold on? Kiziel, meanwhile, has got past Talbot for P5. Skowski still not pitting. Keep your eyes on Lodeman. Currently P8. What sort of lap times is he going to be setting on them fresh mediums? Is the question as he starts the first lap now. A few more drivers in. Talbot and Nick Mangano both into the pits. How much can he undercut Skowski by? Harris has left. Harris has actually just left Bean for dead. Oh! That's Talbot having a moment. No safety car, but he's had a moment on them fresh mediums. Meanwhile, Marco up into P10 dispatches his brother. Skowski, though, with a commanding lead, will be surely looking to pit soon. Who caused the spin? That is very true. There's some Mangano on Mangano action. Oh. Oh no. Oh dear, oh dear. So the McLaren's currently running P8 and P9. Marco in P10. Wonder how Marco's tyres are doing. I don't think he's going to be able to last until the end there, you know. As now, Skowski hasn't pit. Lodeman sets the fastest lap. Very important that Lodeman is lapping fast, because that gap between him and Harris will then be coming down. Bean comes out of the pits in P4. Hugendorn P5 and Kiziel on them. But Cassie, will Cassie be able to undercut them? Bean with a much better exit compared to Hugendorn. Hugendorn under pressure here from Cassie. Hugendorn, whose tyres are not heated up. Cassie, whose tyres definitely are up into optimal temperatures. Side by side now with Hugendorn. Maybe a switchback on order by Cassie. gets a much better drive than Hugendorn. Ben Cassie side by side with Hugendorn. Through sector 2 we go. He'll have the inside and Ben Cassie makes a move. What a move! Ben Cassie with an orgasmic move through the winding corners of 7 and 8. Puts it on. Melvin Hugendorn. Meanwhile, Talbot is battling Marco Mangano. Marco's pace definitely falling off on them old hards as now the race leader into the pits. Harris also following suit. So Harris pitting when Skowski pits. Where will Lodeman come out? Lodeman will be ahead of Harris. It's going to be closer than we think. I think Harris will be ahead of Bean. Lodeman back up into P2. As Bean now coming up to Harris. It's going to be close between these two. Bean might think about a move here on Harris. And this is for the final podium position. Harris, whose tyres are not going to be up to temperature. Bean makes the move on Harris. 4 P3. Currently Cassie, though, in P5. With Hugendorn P6. And Kiziel. So it's still an all-Polish lineup in Tier 2 for Alfa Romeo. But that gap, Lodeman is closer to Skowski than before they pit. It is not a Polish train, it is an English train, because Ben Cassie is English, I believe. Cassie with Hugendorn behind him. But the battle for P3 is on once again. These two battling it out again. Harris will have the DRS. When will he think about attacking is the thing. As the field is a little bit spread out at the moment. Although Cassie is holding up a solid portion. And it is who will be wanting a safety car here. As Harris looks for a move up the inside of Bean. They're side by side through turns 1 and 2. And now Bean will have the inside for turns 3 and 4. But Harris side by side with Bean. Still. But Bean just about ahead. Harris thinks about a move up the inside. Bean leaves him the space. Harris unable to make it happen though. So currently it is Skowski P1, Lodeman P2, and we're watching the final podium battle for P3 here between Bean and Alex Harris. We're going to ride on board with Harris as he looks at the rear of that Williams car. Harris looks for a move, opportunistic. Beans remains ahead, but it'll be interesting to see who got the DRS there. Harris with only 33% battery left. Harris did get DRS, but I don't think he's within attack range. He definitely isn't. Meanwhile, Skowski set the fastest lap of the race. And it's very close as we're going to go to pay our attention because Cassie's just lost a position to Hugendorn on that straight. And now it'll be Kiziel behind him, eyeing up a move. Oh, and Harris picks up a 3-second penalty. For corner warnings. As there's a couple of battles going on the track right now. We've got Hugendorn, Cassie and Kiziel all battling out. You've got Swan now up into P8. Nick Mangano drops down a position into P9. Vandenberg rounds out the points paying positions as things stand. But the battle for P3 is where it's all eyes are wanting to be paying attention to, because it's Bean and Harris battling it once again. Harris running a little bit wide there. And with the only driver with a time penalty currently on the track, I don't know how he's going to maintain that third place even if he gets past Bean. As meanwhile, Marco has had a spin. And Harris closer to Bean than last time. Pops his DRS. Bean and Harris side by side. Harris strikes once again down this back straight, but Bean not giving up. But it does look like Harris is through. But with 7 seconds, is it 8 seconds to Loadman? It's hard to gauge what the actual gap is. Bean might look to fight back on Harris though. As down the main straight, Bean eyeing up the inside. Bean will have in his mind that he might also have a penalty incoming for him and his actions in turn 1, or lap 1 even, turn 6. Because it is blatantly caught on stream that he just spun the Alfa Romeo of Patrick Kiziel. But this battling is enabling Hugdorn to catch up to this pair. Skowski having a very quiet race. Loadman also a nice quiet race. Hugdorn might be about to drop off. Oh, because Kiziel has got past Bean. No, Kiziel has got past Cassie. Cassie drops down into P7 now. There's 16 cars still on the track. 6 laps remaining. And once again, Bean and Harris down this back straight. You can see Hugdorn in shot is approaching. And I think Loadman has only lost about a second so far to Bean and Harris. But it's going to be very close between Harris and Hugdorn right now about who gets 4th. Skowski currently with fastest lap, able to relax a little bit now. He has a nice buffer to Loadman. And meanwhile, Hugdorn now under pressure from Kiziel. They both kind of dropped Cassie off the back. Very true, very true. How many points are on offer? 50, 58, 59. Maximum points after this race will be 60 points. And even then, there might be post-race penalties to come into this. Because I know what I might be reporting. Oh, give us a good camera shot, please. Harris unable to make inroads here on Bean. And with 5 laps now to go, it's looking like Skowski is got a commanding lead. Harris's engineer is Hegro. Harris's tyre wear is around 20% on them tyres. Maybe. The gap to Loadman keeping it steady at 6 seconds, give or take. Good camera angle again, game. Harris thinks about a move. Meanwhile, for P5, Kizyul gets past Hugendorn. And this could be very important, because Kizyul might be able to bridge that gap to Harris and Bean. But Hugendorn will not give up. He's known as the GOAT for a reason. Kizyul is indeed flying. The flying pole. It's oddly fitting that a lot of the Polish drivers drive the Alfa Romeo and it is just the colours of the Polish flag. Skowski though with a commanding lead. Loadman with a solid gap to Bean. Bean trying to shake off Harris still. This pair battling it out. And we're going to ride on board with Harris once again. Oh, Harris almost losing the car there. And Harris might struggle for DRS here. Was just within range of DRS. But that gap isn't coming down as much as he would like. I'm assuming that's Loadman's girlfriend in chat. Cheering on Loadman as talking of washed. Mangano's at a moment. I gathered. Swan up into P8. Could possibly have done better. He wasn't looking at planes all week, but here we are, hunting down the tier 3 driver of Cassie for another position. We hear that Swan does have to use the extra large helmet size as of nothing else fits around his head. As meanwhile, Skowski has now lapped Van Loon. Van Loon not having a race to remember. Loadman rounding that corner now with no issues at all. Then it's Bean and Harris once again very close to one another. Harris only with 3 laps to make a move though. And Kizyul could still get within range of this pair. And Bean runs a little bit deeper than Harris. Harris eyes up a move for a second. Unable to do so though. As we round the final corner. And Harris is a lot closer than normal. But Bean will be surely deploying on this straight. Harris unable to make anything happen here. He's just stuck behind Bean currently. As Marco's had another moment in P16 for Marco. That headache must really be kicking in. And Harris might be getting a bit desperate. Still stuck behind Soybean. Is Kizyul gaining on them though? I believe Kizyul is gaining. And Harris still can't seem to make a move here on Bean. Eyes up and move into the hairpin. Unable to do anything though. But the gap to Loadman has come down a lot. Meanwhile, Skowski, who is on the final lap now, unchallenged. The only threat was Harris. But Harris, on an alternate strategy, has been no problem for Skowski to deal with. Loadman, seemingly a bit slow, as Bean and Harris has been gaining on him. On the final lap, though, will there be a change in positions for these two? Will Kizzy be able to get in that 3-second range of Harris? Cassie defending, and Swan has lost the position to Nick Mangano. They're side by side. Cassie still in P7 as Skowski now rounds the back straight. Loadman has just been unlapped by Marco Mangano. Loadman is definitely running slow. As Bean can see Loadman, Harris can see Bean. Will Harris be able to make the move on Bean? Marquinhos, meanwhile, steals the fastest lap from Skowski. But I think Harris won't be able to make the move on Bean. But Skowski is your winner. Loadman now rounds for P2. P3 will go to Bean. P4, will it be Harris? Will it be Kiziel? It stays Harris. Hugendorn P6. Cassie. P7 Swan P8. Uh-oh. P9 will belong to Mans Vandenberg. And Nick having a spin on the final corner. Will be P10. It's P11 for McWilliams. It's P12 for Taubon. And Binder is doing some donuts. Come on, Binder, lad. Mangano did indeed spin last corner. As Binder comes P13 and Marquinhos will round out the final points paying position. Well, no, he won't. He's P14. Oh, oh, whoa, 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 yeah, boop, 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 boop. But here it is. Skowski takes that top step once again. Kasper Skowski, P1, almost certainly locking in that World Drivers' Championship here in Tier 2 for Amethyst. Logan brings home P2 on the podium and P3 for Bean. Harris almost losing out to Kiziel in the end there. It'll be interesting to see if there's any penalties to come. As we're going to get ready to do the interview. No, with Bean finishing where he finished, I don't believe he's won it just yet. It's close. He's very close. Also, a big shout out to Cassie, the Tier 3 driver, brings it home P7, just ahead of Swan. He'll be looking to win now on Wednesday. That is not the interview room. Let's get Skowski up here.
Hello, hello.
Skowski, P1, was you ever in any threat to do with the strategy of Harris?
It was a weird strategy, not gonna lie. Starting on softs, actually doing 6 laps on them with such pace, very weird for me. But yeah, after he decided to do a second stop on to the mediums, while he could have easily gone further and go for another set of softs. I mean, I can take it, of course, but it's weird.
You once again, though, come first and almost certainly stamping your name on that trophy this season.
Yeah, I think it's very close.
It's very close. Currently, you'll be 58 points, I think we worked it out, ahead of the next driver. Give or take, if there's any penalties. I think it's Bean, and there's only 60 points left on offer.
Yeah.
And if there's any post-race penalties, you could possibly be looking at more.
Maybe.
And Kizu,
Maybe let's not talk about it. So sure, everything can happen still.
and talk us through both your lap ones, because Kizel, you seem to not have the start you would have wanted. You had a brilliant start off the line into turn 1, and then disaster.
Yeah, I mean, I even went wide, so no one hits me, but as always, it happened. Well, I don't know. I hope, whoever hit me gets a 5 second or something, because I don't understand how you can be capable of taking someone out from that far behind, but, we move on.
And talk us through the strategies that Adam Jack, you must be happy with the strategy you set the boys up on.
Well, I've set a strategy that it was the best, of course. There isn't a better strategy on China. There never was, there never will be than hard to mediums. But when I was watching, as Kasper actually said, and of course, unfortunately also Kishel said, lap 1 wasn't the greatest. The start of the line, Kasper lost out to Harris because he as usually had a brilliant start, which seems to be a typical form for him. Surprisingly, surprise for everybody that is not into what we are talking about. But looking at the first lap, the incident between Kisiel and it was Soybean, I'm gonna confirm it straight away. From what he told me, it was a Soybean incident, and it was unfortunate because both Soybean and Kisiel actually got 8% of wing damage. Kisiel had it on the right side, Soybean had it on the left side of his car, so that didn't help either of them. And unfortunately, just sometimes drivers think the race ends on lap 1. But as we know, it ends on the last lap, and Kasper today with the strategy we've set and the pace I know he had, because he actually, I'm not gonna lie, might be a little bit faster or around my pace on this track, which is quite an amazing achievement looking where we started training with each other. Yeah, I'll say it clear, I did not even blink for 1 second thinking that we might not get it. It was just a commanding and dominant performance from both of our cars, with the damage getting P4. might be P3 even, sorry, P5 might be P4 after penalties might be applied or might not be applied. It's still a great job from both our drivers, and yeah, we're just looking forward to the next one to clinch the title.
Yeah. The next track is a sprint race weekend and it's Brazil. How are you guys feeling for it? We know Ule will be making a return for that track, but he will have a 6th place grid penalty to serve.
Oh, already.
I mean, Brazil last season didn't go to our plans because it was raining. We'll see.
I'm not gonna be
I-
surprised if it rains again, to be fair.
The same.
On a
Yeah,
side note, though,
but-
as well, Skowski, congratulations again on the first place in the first round of the 10Cs Cup, lad.
Oh, thank you.
Doing-
it was
doing us
very
proud.
lucky one, but yeah.
Clapping cheeks.
Exactly.
Anything you guys would like to add before we go down for P2?
Thank you, Kisho, for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me, and I also would like you, Luke, to talk with me, Skowski, and Adamczak after you end the stream, if possible.
I've got a tournament to run to.
Yeah, just like literally 2 minutes.
Oh, I'll try. Just go into Alpha
Okay.
Romeo chat and I'll try and be there.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Thank you everyone for racing today. It was a pleasure watching you, and just good luck for the next round. But I don't think you're gonna, better Skalski to the end of the season.
Don't be so
Skowski-
confident,
I think
okay?
Skowski has to score 3 points.
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
If you score 3 points, as things stand, you'll be living your best life.
Let's hope it happens.
Ooh, sorry. Anyway, thank you very much, boys. And
Pig.
that was a hiccup.
Yeah, you sounded like a fucking pig.
Okay, let's not embarrass Luke anymore.
Clip
Yeah.
it, guys.
It's been clipped multiple times already.
Yeah, exactly. Don't make
Okay,
it sad now, come on.
let others talk
Yes,
for
yes.
themselves in the interviews.
Let other talk shit. Oh, there we go.
Alright.
Okay,
Well,
well, fuck off.
congratulations. P1 and
I
P5.
don't take any responsibility for what Jacob is saying right
Alright.
now.
Back to the audience. Alright, let's get Loadman. Where's Loadman? There he is. Loadman P2. We had someone in chat cheering you on along the way.
Yeah, that would be the missus.
Anything you want to say to the missus? Because she was scolding you at the end for getting lucky with your fuel.
Getting lucky with my fuel? Don't know what she was talking about. I had plenty.
But P2, you must be very happy with that result.
Yeah, another P2 for a race I participated in, and I had no answer to Scouty in P1. He was ridiculously fast.
And still though, on the second step once again. Surely
Yeah.
stamping, if you're racing next season, surely looking to put your name out there.
I mean, I definitely think give me a full season and I'll be up there for the championship.
And do you want to talk us through your race? Because you gained quite a few places on the start. I think you started P5.
I started P6. Yeah, my
P6.
race was pretty boring, but the start, who was it? Bean and I think it was a McLaren. They were just battling all the way through Sector 1 and then going into Turn 4 or 5, I believe. I went a bit deep on the outside, but it turned out it worked well for me because on my inside there was 3 or 4 cars that just must have got damage, and yeah, it was pretty simple from there on. P2, well, I was in P3 because Harris was on the 2 stop and he had a good start. It was a pretty boring race, to be honest. I didn't have to push at all. I just had to make sure I brought it home.
And you brought it home indeed, although that gap came down very, very swiftly
Yeah.
on that final lap.
Yeah, it did. I did have a snap of oversteer going onto the long straight 'cause that right hander is just ridiculous. I'm in 6th gear and I'm still getting snaps of oversteer. There just feels like there's no grip anywhere on that track.
But you made it work.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's solid points for yourself and Aston Martin. Must be very happy for that.
Yeah, I was happy. We're unlucky for Oliver. He managed to get P11 just outside the points, but I was going into this weekend. I'd be happy with any points finish. So to get P2, I'm delighted.
Well, with Brazil up next, and it's a sprint race weekend. How are you feeling for it?
Brazil is one of my favourite tracks, and if there's a track I'm going to win, it's going to be Brazil.
Well, you're going to have to be competing with the likes of Skowski. Vlad might be making a return, and Vlad has always been very good there. And
I've never
Harris,
raced against him, so I don't even know.
He's in
I
the
don't really know what the
Red
crack.
Bull this season.
Okie doke. Alright. Well, I look forward to it. I mean, if I could get another podium again, that'd be lovely. But just taking one race at a time. I've signed next season for Aston Martin, which is good news. So, yeah, I'm just looking out to see out the season with some good results. Get Aston Martin climbed up the table a little bit if I can manage to do that, and then on to next season, I suppose.
Very true, very true. Well, congratulations for that stunning race that you put on P2, and I guess we'll see you next week.
Yeah, take care. Thank you.
There is one more man to talk to now, and that would probably be the Williams of Bean. Bean,
Yeah.
I think we all know the question on everyone's mind.
Yeah, right. Call me the bottle merchant, all of it. Yeah, okay.
No.
So,
Lap
I know
one.
lap one.
Lap
I'll get
one.
to it, I'll
Let's
get
talk
to it, I'll
about
get
your
to it.
lap one.
yeah, we'll rewind a bit, go into qualifying as well. So, I mean, yeah, I was a bit caught up because my teammate didn't show up for a bit, so I was thinking about that too. But first lap went pretty well. Kizil just going a bit slowly in the last sector because he was on inters. But I don't really know if that was his fault because technically he was on a lap, but just so slowly going in front of me. But yeah, then second lap I bottled it, and third lap everyone was going so slowly through the last sector, obviously to make space, and my teammate just got sent to space right behind me, and I was just so distracted. And at the end of the lap, there's an AlphaTauri sitting at the last corner, so yeah, it just did not go very well. So I think I would have got past Kizio on qualifying, but Skalski and Harris were just so fast. I don't know how they did that, but yeah. And then into the race. So right, basically, I got terrible start as always. My starts just aren't that good, and I managed to get next to the Ferrari, who obviously slightly laggy as ever. And then going into turn 4, I was up his inside, and then which most people didn't see obviously on the stream, is he moved extremely late into the braking zone and pushed me to the inside. So just completely distracted me and left no space for me to go anywhere other than straight into Kizil. So that's what happened. So yeah, obviously I'm sorry to him for that, but I don't think there was anything I could have done about it. And yeah, all I can say is sorry to Kizil. But yeah, then after that, I had damage, obviously, for the whole race, because, I mean, it was bad, obviously, around China, but I felt like I would have lost more time replacing it, so, yeah, I just had to slowly make my way through, and then eventually Harris came out, and I decided that he wasn't going to catch the people in front, so I might as well just fight him, and, yeah, it didn't go too badly, and then just bring it home in P3, but yeah, I might take a penalty for that, but I feel it wasn't my fault. So, I mean, it is how it is sometimes. There was no way I was going to beat Skalski this race. Maybe I could have got P2, but yeah, that's my race right there. So, probably not what people were expecting, but I hate this track. I don't know how you could design such a terrible one. But yeah, that's it.
And Brazil next. How do you feel for Brazil?
For me, it's an okay track. I don't really like or dislike it, but mostly because of the extremely long DRS zone, and some of the corners are just very sketchy for me. So I'll see what I can do, but I heard a few of the others are really good at it, so I'll just see what I can do. It looks like Skalski's probably going to win the championship there, so
He might win it here, depending if you get penalties.
yeah, he might, but I don't think there's much chance of anyone beating him anyway, so yeah, good for him, and I'm happy that he's got what he deserves, because he's just been way too good this season, and I haven't, so we move on to the next one, but yeah.
Well, congratulations though on P3 as things stand. We will see what comes in and what doesn't come in.
Yeah,
And
let's see.
we look forward to seeing you next week, lad.
Yeah, you too, thanks.
Alright, so on that note, that is the end of the stream for today. Thank you very much for joining us. Tune in on Wednesday as the Tier 3 drivers get to take it on. We'll see if Talbot can have a better performance than last time, and if Cassie can replicate his performance from today, and everyone else comes out here to battle it out. But anyway, thank you very much for joining. It's been me, Martin. Goodbye.
But those wanna bite